Private members will continue. I call the member for Shellharbour.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise tonight once again to condemn the inaction of those opposite and express my support for the additional M1 on and off ramps at Dapto. Currently, the M1 Princess motorway near Dapto has no entry or exit ramps on the southern sides of Canahooka Road or Fowlers Road, and no entry or exit ramps either in the other direction at Emerson Road. I remind the House that Dapto and West Dapto is one of the fastest growing areas in New South Wales, and every day more and more people are settling in this area and building for their future, and yet they still aren't able to access critical paths between Dapto and other key areas in the south, such as Shellharbour, Kiama or Nowra. Speaker, when travelling in this direction, residents are forced to drive through Mount Brown on a smaller residential roads before they finally can actually join the M1. The only southbound and northbound entry ramps catering to Dapto and West Dapto residents are located there in Mount Brown. But currently the Emerson Road interchange passes over the M1 via a bridge without providing any connection to the road below. The interchanges at Canahooka Road and Fowlers Road only provide northbound entry and southbound exit. This journey is also it's a part of so many residents' daily lives, and the fact that these ramps were never built beggars belief. These ramps are so needed to effectively connect Dapto to the southern parts of the Illawarra and beyond. The land is there, and so is the demand. It's time for the Minister to come clean with the community, establish a firm timetable, and tell us when these critical road upgrades will be built. There's also a massive wave of development coming for Dapto and West Dapto. It's already breaking now. Speaker, over the next 20 years, probably less, Dapto will become a mini city with another 20,000 new dwellings and over 50,000 people calling this area home. The road infrastructure in the area isn't meeting standards as it is, and it's only going to get worse. The New South Wales Government has a responsibility to ensure that Dapto's infrastructure keeps pace with the expected population growth, but they are failing. Speaker, Dapto's access problem is worsening each and every day, and the fact that this issue hasn't already been rectified is a massive oversight on the part of this government. That being said, the need for these ramps isn't news to RMS. In fact, according to the Roads and Maritime Services website, they've been in the preliminary investigation stages of this project since June 2015. It's now May 2018. It's been 3 years and we haven't seen 1 ounce of action. Even earlier back in 2014, the government identified these additional ramps as necessary in their Illawarra infrastructure growth plan. And despite them being considered necessary 4 years ago, we haven't seen any real steps taken to deliver the project. Those opposite have spent 1,000 days just looking busy and talking about upgrading the M1, shuffling papers from one side of the desk to the other, and the Dapto and Fig Tree, but they still haven't delivered a single study or design. The project is so far off as it's ever been. I myself have been calling for these desperately. On and off ramps since 2013, and whilst it doesn't seem to have made any difference yet, I'm not going to give up. Labor committed to the upgrades as a part of the 2015 election, and those opposite have said that they're necessary. If those opposite will concede that Dapto needs these ramps, then they now need to get on with the job, and they have conceded this. Speaker, one of the fastest growing suburbs in New South Wales. These upgrades are critical to the livability of Dapto and West Dapto and the local area. Residents need these on and off ramps. This isn't the first time that this government has put Dapto dead last in its priorities, but that doesn't seem to make it any shocking or it's just unacceptable. It's time that the government finally started getting on with the job. We've been stuck in stage 1 preliminary investigations for this project for 3 years. Everyone in Dapto is sick of this government pandering to their needs without actually delivering anything. We saw it with the possible closure of Dapto dogs, and we've seen the lack of consultation in relation to the West Dapto jail. I'm calling on those opposite to abandon their blatant disregard for the residents of Dapto and finally build these much needed and additional M1 on and off ramps at Canahooka Road, Fowlers Road and Emerson Road. And I'm calling on the Secretary, the Parliamentary Secretary for the Illawarra, Gareth Ward, the member for Kiama, to come out and publicly support my calls. Come out, Gareth, and support my calls for these on and off ramps at these roads. I want to see the member for Kiama in front of the camera. And let's face it, we all know the member for Kiama loves a photo opportunity. He loves cameras and he loves having his photo taken. Well, I want to hear him deliver some good news for the people of Dapto.
Thank you. Private member statements